If you need help formatting your papers for my English class, this video will show you how. All Wake Tech English classes require this same format, so once you have it down, you'll be good to go. To open Microsoft Word, which is the program you'll be using, click on the Start button in the lower left corner of your screen. My Start button is covered up by the name of the program I'm using to make this video, but when I click on it, I get the same menu you do. You want to go up to Programs, and then within the programs you want to find Microsoft Office. And then you want to find Microsoft Word. It'll probably be at the bottom because they're in alphabetical order. And you click on it, and you get this screen. Now the first thing you need to do, and this is the one thing that many people forget to do, is to select no spacing. By default, normal is selected. You want no spacing, so you click on it. Let me show you something. Here are two versions of the same paper. The one on the left is formatted normal, and so every time enter is hit, extra space is put in, you see? The one on the right is formatted in no spacing, and so every line of the page is double spaced like you want it. All right, so we have hit no spacing. We're done with that. Now you are ready to create your header. So you want to click anywhere on the top of your page above the blinking cursor. Double click, and you will reveal this dotted blue line, okay? So this is where your header goes, above the line, but you don't want it on the left, you want it on the right. And in order to get it there, you go up to Insert Alignment tab, click on that, click on Right, and click on OK. And it puts your cursor on the right where you want it. All right, now type your last name. I'm going to be Tom Jones. And when you're done with your name, hit the space bar once. Don't forget, a lot of people forget to hit the space bar. And now you want the page number, but you don't want to put in the number 1, because if you do, every single page of your paper will be page 1. Instead, you have to use this page number function. Click on it to open it, scroll down to where you get to current position, slide over into the first box, and click. You see, the first number 1 is put there where we want it, and automatically when you get to page 2, that'll be page 2. Okay. Now before you leave the header, there's one more thing we have to do, and that is to change the font. All right, so you need to left click, that is hold down the button of your mouse on the left and slide it through Jones 1, or excuse me, your name and the page number. So you get this blue highlighted box. Then put your cursor anywhere on the box and then right click, and this menu opens up. Okay? Now you'll notice it says Calibri 11. Calibri is the style of type you're using and 11 is the size. You don't want that. You want Times New Roman 12. So click on the little arrow next to Calibri and look for Times New Roman. Now, since I have recently used Times New Roman, it's right at the top, but it's likely that yours will be way down toward the bottom. They're in alphabetical order, so you got to scroll down to the T's, find Times New Roman, and click on it one time. All right, now you want to do something similar. You click on the little arrow next to the 11 and select 12. All right, you are done with your header. To get out of the header, double click anywhere below the dotted line. And you can see that if you double click, you can get in and out of your header quickly. All right, now there are a couple of things you have to do before you start typing. First of all, notice even though our header is Times New Roman, the rest of the paper is not. It's still Calibri 11, so we need to change this to Times New Roman 12. And when you click on it, on the little dot, the little arrow now, you'll see Times New Roman will be near the top because you just used it. So you select that, and then of course 12. All right? And then the last thing you want to do before you start typing is to set your line spacing to double. This is the icon that you use for line and paragraph spacing. Click on it. 1 is selected by default. You want 2. Okay, now we're ready to start typing. But this isn't the first line of your first paragraph. This is your heading. Okay, this is your header. This is your heading. So type your first and last name. And when you're done, hit enter one time. This will double space down to the next line. Okay, then type in my last name and hit enter. On the next line, you put your class and section number. So let's pretend we are in English 090 section 4103. So I'll type capital ENG space 090, comma space, don't forget the space after the comma, 4103. Okay? Come down one more line, hit enter. And this is the line on which you're going to put the date. But you don't want to write it in like you normally do. You want it military style, which means the day comes first. This is November 7th. So I'm going to start with 7, space, and then I can just start typing November. I don't have to continue very far because I get this little message that says, press enter to insert. So if I press enter, I'm going to get the date. Now, if you mess up, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and type it out. But please notice, there are no commas in the date. Okay? All right, we will need to come down one more line, hit enter. On this line is where your title is going to go, but of course you need to center your title. And in order to do that, this is the center button. Okay, click on it and type in your title. I'll just write title. Come down to the next line, hit enter again, and finally you have arrived at the first line of your first paragraph. But before you start typing, we don't want it centered. We need to align it left again. So this is the align left button. Click on that. And then the last thing you're going to do before you start typing is to indent. And you do that by hitting your tab key one time. All right? And so this is the first line of my paper. And that's all there is to it. After you get a little practice, you'll be able to format your papers very quickly.